Hey guys, welcome back to Arcanum. We're playing episode 7. Because everyone has their secrets, and each secret is another revelation. Alright, let me see my points. 1 Emperor, 7 High Priestess, 9 Redemption, 7 Major Arcana. Okay. Can you balance those? I don't know. I don't know. Because we haven't gotten any skill checks yet, so I don't know if we should be balancing something. Don't know. Chapter 7, The Veil of Secrecy. Thunder rumbled, lightning bolts flashed in the sky, and an icy downpour started. Selena raised her hands in a vain attempt to cover her head. Rob shouted, trying to be louder than the swooshing of the wind and roaring of the downpour. Let's run under the tree. I don't think it's a good idea. But he casually grabbed her by the wrist and rushed under the crown of the oak tree. What are you... His touch made Selena feel excitement, disgust, or astonishment. At the moment, I'm still interested in romancing him, so... excitement. She felt his touch with every inch of her skin and every cell in her body. Though she enjoyed the moment and wanted it to last forever, Selena stubbornly pulled her hand away, frightened by her feelings. Rob? Maybe we shouldn't be standing under a tree? Oh, there it is again. While the tree kept them dry, they were also running the risk of being struck by lightning, which worried Selena. Before she had time to voice her concerns, Rob signed to her to be silent and whispered, Look. A female figure approached one of the graves. Her face was hidden behind an umbrella, but Selena recognized her anyway. Mary? She stared at a lopsided wooden cross marking a nameless grave. Where was Mr. Brown buried? The gentleman who died? Yes. I don't know. His wife chose the place. I bet she buried him there. Mary's hatred for her husband was petty and long-lasting. She couldn't help but take revenge on him even after his death. I'm the only person who'll ever know where you're buried. Not anymore. As soon as I forget you, your existence will lose its meaning. Your life will become insignificant and your death will go unnoticed. The umbrella was barely withstanding the pressure of the rain. Her clothes got soaking wet and the water was dripping from the hem of the dress and from the sleeves. Mary didn't notice any of that. She was consumed by hatred. Her presence here proves that people of Totspell know about this cemetery. After a while, Mary left without noticing 2 silhouettes hiding nearby behind a tree trunk. I don't like any of it. The puzzles are beginning to add up, but still they don't form a clear picture. From the new one. Seems to be well known. Should I tell him what I heard? Share or don't jump to conclusions? I mean, I'm not trying to jump to conclusions. We're trying to piece it together. Let's see what Sharon does. Influence the story, how? Oh no. I overheard Josephine talking to Liam. They found potential visitors themselves, or someone helps them. Like I said, guess they're lured into a web. They're involved after all. Or they're just pawns in a bigger scheme. Maybe. In any case, we're on the right track. We must be careful around them, Lilith. For some reason, Selena was full of doubt. Something tells me it's not that simple. The wet cloth struck to the skin, the cold wind made her shiver. Selena wrapped her arms around herself and snapped her teeth from the cold. Let's go. Doesn't look like the rain will stop anytime soon, and you're already frozen. They ran towards the hotel. The mud was squelching underfoot. It smelled of wet earth and dampness. The cold air hurt the throat and the lungs. How did that affect the story? I wonder what I would have said. Because I'm concerned because she said she's full of doubt, and they've also said that it's not what they think. So I'm wondering if Rob will jump to conclusions and therefore try to hurt them when they're not the main perpetrators of what's going on. Why do I feel like Lilith is responsible for everything that's happened in this city? I don't know. Started the downpour with renewed vigor, and it was getting hard to see past the wall of heavy rain. Rob stopped and looked around in confusion. I can't figure out where we are. Neither can I. We probably took a wrong turn. Drops of rain ran down his hair, outlining his cheekbones in a strained grimace. He ran his hand over his face and sighed wearily. I hate rain. Selena suddenly laughed. Her own laugh seemed hysterical to her, but she laughed again. Did I say something funny? They were so lost, so cold and completely wet, there was no point in rushing anywhere. No, you just reminded me of something. Mom walked in front. From time to time, she stopped, raising her hand to flag down a cab. Selena followed her, trying to throw back her wet hair, which was constantly getting to her face because of the wind. Looks like we have to go on foot, dear. On foot? Are you crazy? It's cold. And wet. So she's a brat even before she lost her parents. We can go to a cafe and wait until the rain stops. I don't want to go to a cafe. I want to go home. And what do you suggest we do? Selena pouted, folded her arms in front of her, and looked away. They were silent for a while. The sky was rumbling. The rain rattled on the roofs of the houses and on the asphalt. I hate this weather. Why don't you ever take an umbrella? Why didn't you? Mom laughed. Because I don't have one. How can you not have an umbrella? I'm not afraid to get wet. It's just rain. I love it. Mom spread her arms to the sides and raised her head, letting the drops run down her face. What are you doing? She looked around, ashamed of her mom's weirdness. When Mother looked at her daughter again, Selena turned away with disgust, noticing she had sloppy black traces of flowing mascara around her eyes. You look stupid. Why are you doing this? Why are you a brat? Because it's fun. It's not fun. This is stupid. Relax, Selena. Smile. Mom pressed her palms to her cheeks. Come on, honey. Selena put on a wry smile. Ah, not too bad. Let's go have some hot chocolate. What do you say? Selena sighed. She's just like a child. Let's go. You're at the age when you can fool around as much as you want, and you're missing it. When I was your age. The memory dissipated like cigarette smoke. Selena realized that she was standing with her arms outstretched and her head thrown back so that the water falling from the sky would wash over her face, just like her mom. Selena laughed, but her laugh sounded more like sobs. It was as if the rain cleansed the dark spots of her soul. She smiled, but the smile came out crooked and awkward. Not bad again, huh, Mom? For a moment, she wanted to cry, but she straightened up, shook her head, and pursed her lips. What's wrong with me? Rob gently touched her shoulder. Is everything okay? You're trembling all over. He went to take off his coat, but Selena stopped him. Don't. I'm not cold. Shall we go to the nearest pub to warm up? His voice seemed strange to her, distant and confused. She dropped her hands and brushed the hair from her face. Good idea. Be alone with him. That's interesting. They put that in quotations marks. Okay. Alright. Let's go. Around the corner, they saw a sign, Bob's Tavern closed. Rob knocked on the window, tried to shout louder than the rain. Is anyone here? We're wet and cold. A shadow flashed in the dark behind the door. Silence. Hey. It's easier to break a window than to get through to them. Should I get a bigger stone? Yes, this cobblestone will do. Rob picked it up, weighed it in his hands. Pretty heavy. He pretended to take a swing. The door opened immediately. What do you think you're doing? Rob dropped a stone and turned to Selena with a grin. We thought the tavern was abandoned. Not abandoned, but closed. Can't you read? How long has it been closed? Long enough. It's unlikely to ever open again. Can we come in? Rob took out a heavy bag of money from his pocket. Sure thing. Come on in. Oh my God. In the dark, the fire blazing and the fireplace seemed brighter than usual. Selena stretched out her hands to warm up. Only then she realized how cold she was. Her fingers were trembling. She watched the drops dripping down her knuckles and then evaporating. The wet, cold dress stuck to her body and she really wanted to take it off. Here you go. Rob took out a mug of hot tea. Oh, thanks. Would you like anything else? Are you hungry, Lilith? No. Rob turned to the tavern owner. Nothing for now, thanks. He grimaced, expecting that his guest's appetites would be bigger, but said nothing, bowed, and left. Selena plopped into a chair and covered herself with a fur cape. The drops drummed on the windows. A few sparks escaped from the fireplace, but vanished faster than they could be seen. Rob lit a cigarette and sat in a chair next to her. All the smoking. Are you cold? Move close to the fireplace. He got up, moved the chair close to Selena, and sat down again, blowing smoke rings from his mouth. Rob's knee pressed against the girl's knee. It happened by accident. At first, Selena wanted to pull away, but that would mean that she'd given it too much importance. That would mean that she actually felt his light touch. Rob, unlike her, didn't seem to notice at all. He smoked, staring at the fire with a hazy gaze. Her knee is so cold. I can feel it even through the dress. You're not shaking anymore. What? Are you warming up? She shrugged her shoulders and stared at the fireplace to avoid Rob's eyes. Yeah, it's much better now. I remembered where I saw you. Really? She turned towards him and studied his gaze. I remembered as I was watching you out there in the rain. He slowly turned away from her and stared at the fireplace again. Rob thoughtfully exhaled smoke. Selena fidgeted impatiently. Did he actually remember? Unlikely. You seemed like a little girl to me, defenseless or, how to put it, vulnerable at that moment. He thoughtfully touched his chin with his fingers. It reminded me. I remembered you looking completely different, at a wooden table in some strange clothes, like I was dreaming about you, or as if it was a memory from another life. Looked at Selena. It probably sounds crazy. Not at all. It's nonsense. I don't know why I started this conversation. Selena grabbed the armrest. She began to shake again. What's wrong with you? Rob squatted in front of her and looked into her eyes. Did you see me in your dream too? Selena couldn't utter a word. She couldn't figure out what to do with the information she received. It didn't give her anything, but for some reason she was so excited that she wanted to cry with relief. He remembered me. Finally she croaked, You could say that. Rob pulled back, dumbfounded. He believed her at once. He suddenly felt a connection with her, but couldn't explain why. Why, despite everything he knew about her and every warning he got from the citizens, did he believe her every word? She looked up at him. Her eyelashes twitched, her lips parted in surprise. Does she know what I'm thinking? Loth recoiled as if frightened by their connection. Rob got scared in return. The smoke disappeared, a void opened his soul, and nothing could feel it. No investigation, no cigars, no nothing. The connection with Loth filled him with some kind of hope and interest in life, but as soon as she pulled away, he felt the void again, and it filled him with despair. No. He didn't allow Loth to lean back in her chair. He fell to his knees and pulled her to him. Rob's hot lips burned Selena's cold, frozen lips. In his strong, firm embrace, she felt tiny and fragile. He could crush her at any moment. But he kissed her instead, gently, desperately, surprised by his own actions. Rob. Selena interrupted their kiss and stared at the floor. Rob bounced back as if scalded. He got up, turned to the fireplace, leaning his hands on the stone mantel. I don't know what came over me. Please accept my apologies. Selena sat still, afraid to end the moment and be left alone to face the reality of her situation. Maybe she could share it with Rob. After all, he remembered her. Remembered. She quietly got up from the chair, went up to him, and timidly hugged him from behind. Rob froze. Yo! They're so generous with these CGs. It's the correct skin tone. It's the correct skin tone. It's the correct skin tone. Guys. The gesture was full of despair and gratefulness at the same time, as was his kiss. They were both lost strangers in the Valley of Dreams who found each other against all odds, and they were holding on to that bit of understanding and closure. He and Rob became much closer to each other. Selena pressed even harder against his tense back, so warm and so irrationally dear, and then pulled back. She shyly turned away from him before he turned to her and said, We have to go. Rob coughed into his fist and answered in the same puzzled way. Yes, it's time. That was so... The fuck? Before we get to that creepiness, that was so nice. I love their dynamic. Because they're both, like, super, like, suspicious and wary of each other, so they're kind of like circling each other, like really like timid puppies or something. I don't know. But it's so cute. I love their dynamic, and I love that they're just like two people kind of on the outside, but kind of related to the incident anyway, and they're just like trying to figure this out together. You know, like, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. It makes it easier to trust him. You know what I mean? And it's interesting that, besides Mary and Emily, he's like one of the only people we know from, like, where is Liam and Bert in the real world? I don't know. That's interesting. Like, had she encountered them in some kind of way before? Are they even real? I assume since some of the real people are here, I don't know. So they both shuddered and backed away from the fireplace. Selena grabbed Rob's arm. Almighty, what's that? The silhouette began to grow, looming over their heads. A smoky, mocking smell appeared and then dissipated just as quickly. Let's get out of here. Looked at Selena, who was clinging to him. She immediately let go of him and almost pushed him away. Yeah, let's go. Rob left a couple of coins and they left the tavern without waiting for the owner to return. They walked to the door and hastily grabbed the door handles, exhausted from the pouring rain. The door clicked, refusing to open. What's going on? I don't know. Selena pummeled on the door, the wood cracked under pressure, and the noise almost drowned out her shouts. Liam? Josephine? You there? Nobody responded. Rob looked around, pressing his head into his shoulders with his arms raised to cover himself from the rain. Looks like we need to find another place to stay. Maybe Bert is at home? They went to the artist. A faint quivering candlelight was seen from the window. Tired and cold, they began pounding on the door until Bert opened it and, surprised, let them in. For several long seconds, he looked at them and seemed to wonder what they were doing and how they ended up on his doorstep. I can only imagine what he's thinking right now. Hope we're not disturbing you. Bert blinked, smiled guiltily, and walked away, letting in the unexpected guest. Where are my manners? Come in, please. Toss Bell's reins, don't spare anyone. Come in. You need to warm up. Bert brought a blanket, lighting a few more candles. A puddle formed under Selena's skirt from the drops dripping from the dense fabric. Lilith, I think you should change. I have some dresses that should fit you. He's like, why? That would be great, thanks. She wanted to take off these wet rags as soon as possible. Selena followed Bert and, hiding behind a screen, hastily put on dry clothes. A pink dress. Ooh. A golden dress. Whoa! I'm wearing that. Or a maid's dress. No. That's all princessy. But queen, absolute queen. Look at her. Look at her. Queen. Selena felt Rob staring at her. He probably noticed it too. The dress fit her perfectly. Bert has my clothes, more precisely, Lilith's clothes. Maybe now isn't a very good time, but if you please, Mr. Stouts, I'd like to continue the portrait since you're here. Bert hastily raised his hands in a conciliatory gesture and added, You won't have to do anything. I'm working on the face. I just need to touch up some of your features, that's all. Before Rob could say anything, a brush appeared in Bert's hands. He dipped it in paint and stared at the guest with the glassy gaze of the artist who sees only the details he needs. Selena sank into a chair, wrapped herself in a blanket, and became quiet for a while. Her thoughts seemed to hibernate as well. It was nice to be warm again. Rob tried to light a cigarette, but they got damp, and he threw them irritably on the table beside him. A cyclone is coming. It'll rain for a whole week. Great. That's how Tospel's weather has been for as long as I can remember. Brushing his hands moved with quick, confident strokes. As a child, my grandmother told these scary stories. She thought that ghosts didn't like lightning. When it flashed in the sky, it lit up everything around them, and the ghost's pain, too. She warned me that ghosts wake up during lightning and that I should be careful. A draft opened the whole ass door? Both of them? Bert put down his brush, got up, and looked out into the porch. Looking around, he closed the door, then made it return to his place and began to draw again. Selena pressed her hand to her chest to calm her pounding heart. She exhaled and looked out the window. I feel apprehensive. It was so quiet in the workshop that she could hear the streams of water rushing along the paths outside. Every time the lightning flashed in the sky, Selena felt tenser. To calm down, she began to observe Bert's work, but it made her even more anxious. She couldn't calm her alarming thoughts. She rubbed her wrist where the ghost left a trail of oily paint, thinking about something. Is Bert involved in this? And if so, to what extent? She peered into his concentrated face, which seemed especially innocent during work. Nothing seemed to worry him besides art and his creative process. Just let you paint it, the rumors, paint the tarot reader. Whose idea was it to paint the guest portraits? Yeah, which one of them painted the tarot reader? Can you tell us more about that? Rob gave Lilith a surprised, fleeting glance. Who's this tarot reader? Why is he so interested in you? Yes, he told me to finish the painting in one session, said he didn't have time. Have you spoken to him? No, that was the only phrase he said to me. When I finished, he silently looked at the painting and left without saying anything. My questions bring me no closer to finding you. What should I do then? We only get the one question. After making a few more strokes, Bert began to wipe the brushes. He didn't have enough time. Then why stay to get the painting done anyway? The painting is almost done. That's enough for today. Rob looked at him without blinking, almost defiantly, and then suddenly said, we could have a dinner to celebrate the home stretch, and we could talk some more. Great idea. Josephine will be delighted. No, you misunderstand me. I might sound arrogant, but still, I'd like to have dinner at your place. Lilith can join us if she doesn't mind. Bert smiled confusedly. You'd like to have dinner here? The food and atmosphere at the mansion are more suited for dinner than my creative chaos. I like it here. I'll be honest, I didn't like Josephine. Well, this is a tempting offer. I'll think it over. I don't have much time. How about tomorrow? Rob is up to something. Does he really suspect Bert? Oh, that would be wonderful. Bert looked at Selena, then looked down and smiled, surrendering. Be it your way. Then I'll be waiting for you tomorrow for a modest supper. It's a date. Rob got up. Why is he pushing so hard here? Our host should be back by now. Thank you for the hospitality. You're welcome. See you soon. See you soon, Lilith. Fortunately, the door was open. Josephine and Liam had apparently just returned and were heading up the stairs. Seeing Selena and Rob entering, they stopped. Liam gave them the same bewildered look as Bert did before. His gaze fell on Lilith's companion. His eyes sparkled as a thought flashed in his mind, something significant and inspiring. Liam's face suddenly became calm and condescending. Did you get wet? We stayed in the city looking for a carriage or omnibus to get to the hotel. Condescending? Why condescending? That's an interesting word choice that they use there. Did he immediately get jealous and then start being mean? I mean, he didn't have to tell me that he was leaving, though. Well, he's free to do whatever the fuck he wants to. This one's kind of cheeky. Did you finish the painting? Almost. Great, almost done. What happens when the painting is done? The rain can be exhausting. I suggest we all get some rest before dinner. We can agree on one thing at least. Mr. Stouts, you're all wet. Would you like me to dry your clothes? I would appreciate it. Lilith, you can go to your room. I'll take care of it myself. Great. I know she's not doing that anyway. Thank you. Selena went upstairs and went to bed without taking her clothes off. The sky continued to rumble. The candles trembled and almost went out because of the wind penetrating through the cracks in the window frames. Selena drew sketches of bridges in her notebook. It helped her calm her mind. She tried to remember every little thing associated with the tarot reader. She remembered the overwhelming impulse she felt next to Rob. Selena put her note back aside. I'm acting so stupid, so frivolous. I can't relax now. They tried to poison me, and I lie in bed and draw as if nothing had happened. The candle on the nightstand went out. Selena looked around and stood up. There's no draft. She grabbed herself by the shoulders and shivered. It's cold. It got so cold that Selena could see her breath. The air became frosty and lifeless. That makes me nervous. Selena picked up one of the burning candles and went out into the hallway. No! 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 There was a deafening silence in the mansion. Oh no! The lightning bolts stopped, flashing for a few seconds, and the hallway plunged into impenetrable, almost tangible darkness. Selena froze, holding the candle in front of her, and didn't dare to take a step. She seemed to be waiting for something. The sound. I'm afraid to click. I'm afraid to click. Please stop. No. God. I'm terrified. I don't want to. Why am I recording this at night? This is terrible. Wait. Shit. We have to follow her, don't we? Selena took a step, but immediately stopped. Could this be a trap? I can't back down now, and if I don't go, I'll never find out what's going on. She stopped on the stairs, clutching the candelabrum with her trembling hands. She was holding it in front of her like a sword before an attack. The ghost slowly, as if floating, approached the painting and then swiftly flew into it and disappeared. The paints. It's all about these paintings. What do I do now? Look at him or remove him? I've been looking at him this whole time. Take it down. Selena put down the candle and, standing on tiptoes, carefully removed the painting. She ran her hand over the ledges. In some places she could see Bert's bold, big strokes. The portrait was so lifelike, as if the girl would blink any second and then go about her business. So weird. This painting seems much more alive than the one that Bert is painting now. Maybe he's tired and he doesn't invest himself as much as he did before? Selena turned the painting over, or he trapped somebody's soul into it. The corner of a card was sticking out of the frame. It was easy to pull it out, gently prying it from her fingernail. The tower. Okay. Is there a card behind every painting or just this one? Selena put the portrait on the floor and took another one off the wall. There's another one here. What? Justice. Okay, I like the sound of that. The tower one looked kind of scary. Shall I look these up? Okay, it means, the tower means sudden change, upheaval, chaos, revelation, awakening. I don't like that. Justice means justice, fairness, truth, cause and effect, and law. Okay. Let's close that. Ungrateful wretch. Josephine snatched the card out of her hands. What? That's mine. Why are you doing this? She quickly returned the card to its place, and then she mounted the paintings back on the wall. What's this? What does all this mean? Shut your mouth, Lilith. Otherwise you'll end up in big trouble. From who? Oh, really? You're the scared one right now. You ruined everything, you little piece of shit. Josephine's voice dropped down to an angry whisper. Come on. Where? I want to make sure you go to your room and stay there. You're not about to lock me in my room. You crazy? I don't need a guardian. Josephine straightened up. It's not up for discussion. Selena shrugged. As you wish. They headed upstairs. Sweet dreams. The door slammed shut. The lock clicked. Huh? Selena lowered the handle. The door didn't give in. course she locked you in the room. What do you think she meant by make sure you stay there? What were you thinking? I think it'd be better if you stayed in your room until morning. What's happening tonight? The hell do you think you're doing? Open up right now. It's for your own good. You'll regret it if you do something stupid. Liam's voice rang out in the hallway. Sister, why is it so cold in the house? Huh? He stopped when he heard Lilith pounding the door and throwing threats at Josephine. What happened? I decided that Lilith would be better off not leaving the room tonight. Why? You should stay out of this one. Sister, are you acting up again? Don't start, Liam. I don't want to discuss anything. I'm going to bed. Josephine. Later then. Sweet dreams, my dear. She hurried away, leaving Liam staring at the closed door in bewilderment. He knocked gently. Knock, knock, Lilith. How are you? Why is there a snake? Why is there a snake in my room? Open the door. I can't. I don't have the keys. What should I do now? We'll have to wait until morning. Sister made up her mind about something. She won't budge. What happened? Why is there a snake? Sister is crazy. That's what happened. It's like the snake is cutting the image between the... Why is it a snake, though, specifically? I feel like there's a reason for that. Don't say that. Selena exhaled, sat on the floor, leaning her back against the door. Without her knowing it, Liam did the same. I can keep you company. Fine, Liam. Keep me company. We can chat if you like. Tell me some secrets, then. About what? You know, I recently remembered the night Grandfather brought you to live with us. It was raining then, just like it is now. I ran to open the gates. We used to lock them back then, and I saw you. You were crying, wiping your tears with one hand, and with the other one clutching my grandfather's hand. Liam? Before I had time to understand what had happened, you let go of my grandfather's hand and ran to me. You hugged me tightly, and I was taken aback. You never hugged me before. Liam, my grandfather, you're the only one I've got left. I hugged you back and for some reason burst into tears myself. I suddenly felt happy and ashamed at the same time for my joy. I realized that we'd be a family from that point on. That's sweet. A lot has happened since then, but you and Josephine were always there. Josephine was bounded by blood, but why did you stay, Lilith? You probably don't know. You've probably forgotten it all. Right now, there's this wall standing between us, both literally and figuratively. Your mind is responsible for the latter. Sometimes I want to smash that wall so badly. You're a little different now, but I like you even more. It seems like you got tired of pretending to be someone else and took off your mask. But you played a role for so long that you forgot it. You forgot everything. Sorry, I guess I'm putting too much pressure on you. It takes time for you to get to know me again. To become a family again. It's so difficult to be a stranger for someone who's your closest person in the universe. I hope you never feel this torment. Liam, stop. He fell silent and Selena was silent too. They were separated by worlds, centuries, memories. Centuries? What if they mean that more than one way? Maybe she knew him in a past life. And Lilith is an actual previous person from her past. You know what I mean? They were separated by a wall. Liam opened his soul to you. You're right. I got carried away. Selena heard him get up and did the same. She put her ear to the door. No, wait. I didn't want to... I know, my sweet Lilith. You need to rest. Good night. She listened to his receding steps and then went to bed. Good night, Liam. In the morning, Josephine, as if nothing had happened, unlocked the door and called for breakfast. The night was restless and full of nightmares. She dreamed she was stabbed to death over and over again. Sometimes it was Josephine, other times it was Liam or Bert. The knives to her back didn't hurt as much as the betrayal. Selena ate and silently watched as Liam and Josephine calmly enjoyed their breakfast, casually chit-chatting. How do I get them to open up to me without being too upfront? I think I started to remember. I remember everything. Really? Liam jumped up with joy and surprise. Josephine stared at Selena suspiciously, raised her hand, and said to Liam without taking her eyes off the maid, "Don't get your hopes up so fast, Liam. And what did you remember, dear?" Dear, what a nice change. I remembered our business. Josephine's face remained impartial. Is that so? And what kind of business are you talking about? I'm talking about paintings. You mean Bert's work? No, or rather, yes. Damn. Why'd you start this? Rob suspects you. It's better this way. I need them to focus on someone else. I know. He's very incredulous. So, do you remember everything? He gently, almost timidly took Selena by the hand as if it were a butterfly's wing which cannot be touched. So, what are we going to do about Rob? Josephine raised her eyebrows in surprise. What can we do? He can run around town asking questions until he's blue in the face. We made up our mind about him. Made up your mind, you say? Do you understand what I mean? She knows I'm lying. We should kill him. Liam staggered back from Selena in a daze. What are you talking about? Josephine smiled victoriously. She got up from the table and threw the napkin on the table. Are you still playing your game, Zilith? I'm tired of this conversation. Clean the table. Liam got up too. Selena wanted to say something to him, but he shook his head. Why are you doing this to me? Oh, I guess lying about remembering. I was like, what am I doing to you? What the hell? Josephine right? And you're playing with us? It's not like that. Promise me that when you remember everything, you'll be honest with me. Promise you won't lie like that anymore. Oh, Liam. I'll never remember. I'm not Lilith. I promise. Okay. He left Selena alone with her thoughts. Rob came down the stairs, adjusting the cufflinks on his sleeves. Already at the exit, he stopped, slightly turned, and asked, Ready? I need you to distract Bert with talking. Okay. Is everything okay? The hotel is haunted. It's foolish to deny it. I don't want to mislead Bert. We must punish those who are responsible for all this. I feel we're on the right track. I mean, I don't want to mislead Bert, but it's kind of weird to say here, I guess. I don't know. All he actually did was talk to him. He didn't actually flirt with him. Hotel is haunted. It's foolish to deny it. Let's punish those who are responsible for all this. Okay, well, but first we need to figure out what they're doing and why. So we're on the right track, or the hotel is haunted. Which one do we go for? One of those, I think, though. If we're on the right track, or it's foolish to deny it. I do feel like we're on the right track, though. But I want to know, does he think the hotel is haunted? Does he believe me? That's ground zero. Like, I need to know, like, how far he's in this with me. I don't want to call him foolish at the same time. Okay. I want to know what he would say to this. I saw a woman earlier, and today I saw a ghost girl. They want to tell me something. You can think I'm making it all up, but you saw the silhouette in the fireplace. I don't know if there's an explanation for it, but I'm tired of looking for a reason not to believe my eyes. It all seems real, and I don't care if you believe me or not. Oh no, Emperor point. Yeah. Okay, but that was a good way to say that, I think. Rob pursed his lips. I've noticed weird stuff, but I chose to ignore it. Things are difficult as they are. I think I saw my mother, too. He coughed into his fist. Thanks for being honest with me. I don't think both of us are seeing things. Okay. Right. Rob liked your bold honesty. Interesting. Wait, so is Rob's path then Emperor? They got to Bert's place and stopped talking just in case he could hear them. The workshop was open. The artist was nowhere to be seen. I thought he'd be waiting for us. Rob's hawkish gaze swiftly scanned the surroundings. There's hardly anything useful here. Selena indifferently walked along the room. What are the chances that Bert is actually involved? Or maybe Rob just wants to squeeze out every ounce of information from him. Ghosts are somehow connected with the paintings, and Bert draws the paintings. Does that mean that he's the main link in all this? Rob is in too much of a hurry. He's too emotionally involved. He'll scare Bert away. Don't be nervous. Rob looked at her with a predator's gaze. Selena felt uneasy, but the next moment Rob relaxed his shoulders and grinned. I'm calm. You're here. Bert was standing with a towel in his hands. Please come this way. Sorry about the way I look. I have no servants, so I have to do everything myself. Bert led them into the living room where the table was already set. A humble homemade dinner. Outside the window, the rain continued to pour, albeit not as strong as last evening. Damp wood hissed in the fireplace. Bert pushed back a chair and nodded to Selena. Miss, allow me. Thank you. As soon as everyone sat down at the table, there was an awkward pause. Bert smiled at the gloomy and confused faces of his guest and, to somehow diffuse the situation, raised his glass and solemnly said, Welcome. Here's to our meeting. Here, here. Lilith and Rob barely took a sip of wine. Do you like the painting, Mr. Stouts? There's still time for some final touches. It's great, thanks. Rob looked at Selena and slowly shook his head. She reacted instantly, took the glass in her hand, and smiled at the owner of the house. Thanks for the lovely dress you gave me. Where'd you get it from? I need to embarrass him so he'll forget about Rob. But Bert wasn't embarrassed at all. He was amused. Good question. One girl forgot that dress. Rob got up from the table and began to look at the paintings, imperceptibly moving towards the hallway. What kind of a girl? Would you like to know her name? If you please. I won't tell. Why not? Do I know her? I'd say, even though you pretend you don't. Without turning to Rob, he suddenly asked, Do you like the painting, Mr. Stouts? Damn. Interesting work. Can you tell me where your bathroom is? Down the hallway to the right? I'll show you. Don't. I found it on my own. You wouldn't leave the lady alone, would you? I didn't think you're the helpless type. I'm not. I didn't mean to offend you. They talked about nothing, contradicting each other every now and then. Why did they come? What's going on here? What's he trying to find out? Bert thoughtfully rubbed the stem of the wine glass. Liz got bored of me. Is that why she invented these games? Now she's bringing other people into this too? Why does he so quick to think that I'm lying? I guess she was a liar before? I don't know. But as much as he says that he knows her, you'd think he'd be able to tell if she was lying, though. Like, what kind of games was she playing before? This is very strange. Probably so. That explains everything. He wanted to give her a piece of his mind. He wanted to protest and say he wouldn't take part in her games, but his lips trembled treacherously and said something completely different. You seem to have lost weight. Maybe you should eat a little more? That was stupid. You should eat too. I need to buy some time. I started eating in complete silence. Selena flinched and dropped her fork when she noticed Rob appear out of nowhere. He was holding something in his hands and looked at it bewilderedly. Bert's smile disappeared as soon as he realized what was the matter. Others jumped up, rushed at Rob, and snatched the find from his hands. Get out, both of you. What's this? Selena also got up from the table. She tried to see what Rob had found, but Bert waved his hands and she couldn't see. You came to my house, I made dinner for you. I wanted to be hospitable, and this is how you repay me? Bert, chill out. Stay out of it, Lilith. If you think you can get away with it, you're wrong. You better leave. How did you color it? Get out. Colored? A photo? Mary mentioned it. You have to see this, Lilith. What? No. Rob went into the hallway. Bert rushed after him. What is it? Selena followed them. Oh my god. Look, this is crazy, don't you think? Who is she? Dozens, hundreds of paintings of the same girl. There were several more unfinished portraits on the floor. Go away, I beg you. What did you do with this girl? Nothing. I don't even know who she is, but she drives me crazy. Bert suddenly screamed, unable to contain himself. I constantly see her face. He turned away as if he didn't want to see the paintings. Rob watched his shaking shoulders and then said apologetically, Okay, we're leaving. Lilith? Something tragic about this girl. Who is she? I feel awful. I never liked snooping around someone's dirty little secrets, and I feel that's exactly what I've done now. Selena followed Rob, but stopped next to Bert. I'll stay. No, go away. It doesn't have to be romantic. We gotta talk about this, guys. We have to talk about this. Dude, come on. We gotta talk about this. Bert Trumbo closed his eyes but nodded exhaustedly. Fine. Selena turned to Rob. You go. I'll be waiting in the garden for you. Rob looked at Lilith one last time, then at the artist and left. Selena touched Bert's shoulder. Shall we sit down? They returned to the living room. They were silent for a while, trying to realize what had happened. All that hard thinking gave Bert a terrible headache, and he squeezed his head and groaned in pain. I understand why he rummaged through my things. Who's this girl? Bert took a photograph out of his pocket and handed it to Selena. Her name is Miranda. That's all I know. Miranda. Oh, and so Mary, this is what Mary was talking about. She said she saw a painting of his and he started screaming at her. The photo, he started screaming at her like it was crazy. Miranda, that's all I know. The photo was crumbled and even torn in some places. It was obvious he carried it around all the time, looked at it a lot, exposing it to the elements. Sin appeared into the face of the little stranger. I don't know what kind of machine was used to make this, but the colors used to be so vivid and lifelike. He got it from the future. Where did you get this photo? It's from the real world, no doubt about it. I don't know. I don't remember. Bert's head started to hurt with a renewed vigor. Candle, can you light one? He could barely speak. Sure. Selena hastily lit a candle and brought it closer to Bert. Is that better? A little, thanks. This girl, I dream about her all the time. I wake up in tears from my own screams. I keep repeating, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Maybe this is a thread that connects Bert with the real world. I haven't told you about this before. You got your way. What are you talking about? You always wanted to get into that room, but I made you promise you wouldn't go there, and you kept your word. And yet this gentleman entered it. In a way, you haven't violated our agreement. So you won. I told you everything. Bert, I had no such intentions. I wanted to know if you were involved with the missing people at the hotel. Missing? I told you those are all rumors. Do you really believe that? He groaned again in pain and shook his head. Let's not talk about it. Bert went limp. His head was on Selena's shoulder, but she didn't pull away. His breathing intensified. To be honest, I haven't been getting better at all lately. Selena stroked his head, pondering over the connection between the girl and the paintings. She didn't notice how Bert's head ended up in her lap. How are you? Bert's shoulders slowly moved as he was breathing. Leaning over, Selena heard him snore softly. He fell asleep. She continued stroking his hair. Oh. In his sleep, his face relaxed, and he looked like a little boy. He looked like a child who got tired of running around and fell asleep on his mother's lap. But Selena didn't forget that as soon as he woke up, he'd go back to being a sly fox carrying his own agenda. He and Bert are getting closer. After a while, Selena carefully got up, trying not to wake him, and quietly went to the exit. Finally, she turned around and, making sure that he was still asleep, left. Okay, because I had to know. I had to know about this painting. And it wasn't particularly, it was like, you're getting close. It wasn't particularly like, an outright like kissing like her and Rob. So I think it's okay. Rob was waiting for Selena in the garden. As soon as she approached him, he said, I think Bert is involved in everything. He needs to be pressured to tell us everything he knows. Pump your brakes. I don't think so. Bert isn't kept in the loop regarding the shady affairs going on in the hotel. I'm sure about it. What about those weird portraits of the girl? He's like a maniac trying to capture the victim's face in his mind. He explained everything. For some reason, I believe him. You better be careful with him, Lilith. Okay, so now I'm extra glad that I took that scene. So I could tell him that, because I don't think I'd be able to say that if I hadn't stayed. Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. What did you and Bert talk about when you were alone? His lips twitched, but he immediately controlled his facial expression. What was that? Did he explain anything about the photo? He's clueless. I see. Rob got up from the bench. I'll think it over tomorrow. Me too. They returned to the mansion and went up to the second floor together and, awkwardly waving their hands to each other, disappeared into their chambers. Yay. Little bit of jealousy, so we gotta be careful what scenes we take. But I think that was an important scene. I'm glad we took that. Selena sat on the edge of the bed and thought, what if everyone in town is cursed, not just me, and everyone has their own punishment? A sort of especially tailored hell? Bert suffers from migraines and memories of a girl. Rob is running back and forth trying to unravel a mystery without getting any real leads. Lame Josephine, Mary, everyone is unhappy in their own way. Shook her head. No, it's not that simple. Only a tarot reader can answer my question. Selena fell asleep without noticing it. In the middle of the night, there was a sharp and rude knock on the door. What the hell? Lily looked around the room sleepily. Silence. She sat back down again, thinking she imagined it all. She almost fell asleep when someone's small, cold hand covered her mouth. Prima, if you playing games. What are you... Prima beckoned her finger and tiptoed out into the hallway. What's she up to this time? Selena at first wanted to dismiss Prima's antics and go to bed, but changed her mind and followed her reluctantly. Prima's silhouette got illuminated by lightning for a split second and then disappeared in the darkness of the hallway. Looked around to see if Selena was following her. Where are we going? That face. She stopped at Josephine's room and again prompted Selena to be silent. She opened the door ajar. Why is she crying over Rob's photo? Through the crack, they could see a part of Josephine's bed, a burning candle, and Rob's portrait. How did it get there? Prima opened the door a little more. Josephine was sitting on her knees, praying and crying, her forehead pressed to the floor in front of the unfinished painting. The hell? Prima held back her giggles as best she could, but her childish laughter suddenly burst out loud. Josephine quickly raised her head and locked eyes with Selena. Like a furious cat, she rushed to them and furiously slammed the door in their faces. Stunned by Josephine's wild, crazy gaze, Selena backed away. Holy shit, what was that? Okay. Okay. That happened. I don't even know where to start with that. Wow, okay. So, Miranda. Could be his little sister. It could be his little sister. But something happened to her. Maybe the migraines are him like being on the cusp of remembering something. Because if Rob is able to remember something, then it stands to reason that maybe some of the others could remember stuff too. And it also confirms that Bert is from the real world. He is a real person. Don't know what's going on with that snake and Liam. I don't know. We got that, what was it? The tower card. It means awakening. Maybe Bert is going through an awakening right now. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know. I feel like we're getting close to some answers here, though. Like we're getting lots and lots of clues, little tidbits. I can't wait to see how it all comes together. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this part right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and show that like button, some love, subscribe to see more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye.
I dream about us, I dream about the stardust. I dream about us, I dream of how it started and how it's all connected.